This is the Grassroots Education and Entertainment Network, your number one source of information, education, and entertainment. For honest, responsible, and dependable information, we stand supreme. To stay focused, inspired, and relaxed, choose green.
All right. So we say welcome again to another session of Ifa Orisa communications or conversations. Sorry. All right. I'd like to begin in terms of, as you say, we give praise and thanks to all of the Mary. May the cool waters of heaven may cool our road, may cool our pathway, may cool our houses, may cool the divine messenger that give us a divine message that will help us to elevate to our highest consciousness. May we give praise to all of the Mary, the owner of existence, who we call on each and every day. We give praise to the owner of the day, Olo Joni. We ask that Omila Baba, Omila Ellery P. Ibikeji Olo the Mary continue to share his wisdom through his devotees and his worshippers. We ask Oshatua. We call on you to give praise to the messenger for all our prayers. And we ask that Baba Yeshu, Baba Ogun, Baba Shango, Ifa, that to continue to guide us and help us as a community to grow with the wisdom of Ifa and Orisa. We say Ashe.
Ashe.
So welcome again. We're going another day, another discussions. We continuing with Omoluabi, in which give insight, as I say, I just term it as I am because our character places us where we are in society. We are what Olodumare made us to be, but it's by our character and how we grow ourselves on a good pathway is where we truly does represent ourselves. So Omoluabi, I am because. About want to share some insight as to what you have.
All right, well, definitely. Ekabo, everyone. And what I'm going to do before we get down into the new parts that we did not touch yet on the topic of Omoluabi, I want to give a little review of what we did already. All right, the first thing in the review is I want to give a definition or the etymology of the word Omoluabi. So Omoluabi is made up of three words, which is Omo, Omo, Lua, and Ibi. All right, Omo means child or person. In older times, Omo meant not only a child, but it also meant a person. Though the word Omo, is now exclusively used for a child. All right, the word Lua means someone that has a good character. Right, the full word will be Ni Iwa. Right, then the last part of the word is Ibi, which means noble birth or good breeding, as found in names such as Ibiduni, Ibijoke, Ibiwumi, and there is also a proverb that uses the word Ibi, and it reads, Ibike Jubi, Biati, Berulati Biomo, which means no birth is superior to the other. Both slave and freeborn are born the same way. So, Omoluabi, when all the different words are put together, means a person in whom there is a happy conjunction of both good character and noble birth or good breathing. All right. We touched on, what good character includes, and the very first word that we looked at in that evaluation was the word orosiso, which has to do with speech, which largely relates to the transfer of cultural values. And after we did the word orosiso, the other word we looked at was itariba, which is obedience, right? And the importance of obedience, right? We talk about by obeying the call, right? It take care of the earth when we learn more about the earth and understand our relation and the way in which we grow, also in fulfilling the desires of our heart, but in obedience and in conscience for personal growth, as well as for protecting our natural space and environment that we occupy. So, the obedience we speak about, in particular in relation to the cosmological viewpoint, is having harmony with everything around you. All right. After we looked at that word, the next word we looked at was inurere, which was goodwill and good mind. After which we looked at the word otito,
Mm.
which is truth. And the last word we looked at last week was iwa, or character and virtue, right? As far as the African virtue theory is concerned, when they talk about the acquisition of good character, they are particularly making reference to good cordial habits, right? And storytelling can be the best way to instill good habits, right? With key virtues such as kindness, faithfulness, compassion, and hospitality. So basically, this is a review of last week's teaching. And then for this week, we are going into bravery, which is akikanju. We're looking at hard work, which is ishe, and we're going to look at money and entrepreneurship, which is owo, and we're going to look at intelligence and mental radiance, which is opolo, and we're going to look at endurance, which is afioriti, and suru, which is patience, ifarabale, which is composure and attention, and we're going to look at owo, respect, and the final one we're going to look at for today is caution, which is iso. Now, eso, sorry.
Yes, so. Yes, so.
Right. So what we know is that the word owo is child. Then you have owo, which is money, and we also have owo, which is respect. So we see that word appearing several times in what we are studying. So now we're going to take up the rest of the characteristics that constitute Omoluabi and generally what we call good character. The importance of these lectures are to buttress the qualities that are valued in Ifa Orisa ethics, right? Because normally you will hear a person say, "Oh, this guy have bad character," or "This woman have good character," but we generally don't know what it is. So as a result of that, the term is used by many in a very abusive way. So what we are trying to do is we are trying to give people a clear understanding how Omoluabi relates to Iwapile and also how it relates to one's conduct, good character, and how that relates to one's destiny as well as one's ori. All right, brother. Well, it's your show. So I had to turn it over to you and not, do too much of the presenting or talking.
All right, so welcome again, followers. When we look at developing Iwapele to reach, because developing Iwapele, following all the traits, then you will reach the level we call Omoluabi. And now as we enter into Akikaju, bravery, bravery is putting all your trust in Ifa to make the steps that are necessary that one has to make. There are certain roles and responsibilities people have to take. And most time is lacking of that bravery to make the attempt, because when you look at all the factors that might be against them. Because funny enough, as a leader, I always tend to take the advice of Ifa. And last year, Ifa advises people, especially religious leaders in the Odu, I'll call the Odu just now, the priests and priestesses, to increase the responsibilities of gathering people. There should be more community temples of gathering. And this year, people should focus more on doing things in groups rather than individuals. We was even our project, what we are doing, we are trying to get people to come and gather. And when you see you're expecting a multitude because it's something everybody's speaking of, you realize not everybody brave enough. Some just frightened. I don't want my Baba to see me there. Or I don't want this one thing here. So when you look at bravery, when you see things are not happening, where people lacking the bravery in which is required also to develop Iwapele. When you look at what the essay or the Odu was saying, the slender Ogbe is Ogbe. The tall Ogbe is also Ogbe. If a revelation to Iwo, the priest, was given the task of gathering worshippers, endeavor to gather devotees together. O ye priests, make sure you gather devotees together. And it's not knocking others, but in terms of when, because remember, as a leader, this is also a commandment to me. So we have to pull people together, because if we do things collectively, we could get more done.
Well,
If
Baba, I mean, it's not just a matter of that, but if we have an Odu that has been read, and this Odu is for the year, and this Odu also gives us a clear idea as the direction that we should be going, I think it is incumbent on all the leaders of the community. It
yeah,
doesn't matter whether it's shrine, Ile, even if you
no,
call
well,
what you have church,
oh my
it is
God.
important for us to know what we must do in order so that we could get the maximum benefit and
All right.
results from the guidance that has been
Got
given
it.
to us.
Now, this Odu was Ogbetua, which was in 2020 to 2021. Now, we haven't even started to deal with 2021 to 22. But they're saying it's because that bravery, Akikanju, in which we're supposed to apply to develop who are the good character within our community. Now, in going into, now I kind of want to go into all, but connect them in our progression. All right. When we look at Ishe, Ise, or Ishe, which is hard work, you know, that is an important factor that we as a people have to embrace. Now, when I say I do go festivals, is not that I have anything against it, but I believe a festival is supposed to be celebrated with a whole community after the community has done hard work. So you work hard to achieve something, and now like we have a festival to celebrate what we did. I do not know what that individual would have done in his hard work that he's celebrating his festival. Because they don't say, okay, it's the festival for achieving this. We just say, I'm having a Ocean Festival, or I'm having a thing. Okay. But we as a community, we have to know work hard, come together, establish things in which we coming together, be brave enough to say, hey, I don't know how to read. I don't know how to use a measuring tape. I don't know how to use a shovel. So just that bravery will allow those who know, because say, come brother, since you're brave enough, I will show you, we can teach you. And we know we come together and we start to work. Now we're going all the way back in terms of character, your virtue. So those who have good virtue, you say you can't read or you can't use a measuring tape. If I were to laugh at you and take that to mock you, then do I have virtue? Do I have Iwa? So you see, although we may define it in separate, they all have to interconnect to achieve what you call Omoluabi, that good character, that those good
Definitely.
virtues.
Well, Baba, I couldn't agree
Mm,
with you more, but I
mm,
wanna think we need to speak a little bit
mm,
about the benefits of hard work,
mm,
right? And hard work also ties in with sacrifice too, because what you're sacrificing when you work hard is comfort and ease.
mm,
All right. Now, many of the things that the community needs is not going to be achieved
mm,
without members of the community giving up some of the comfort zones.
mm,
All of the communities in Trinidad and Tobago that have made the necessary progress in order for them to be able to achieve the building of the institutions that they need many of these communities did so with hard work and sacrifice. So we need the members of the Ifa Orisa community needs to understand that hard work is a prerequisite for any type of growth, progress, and development. So it is very important as part of your human character that you work hard. Now, mind you, working hard doesn't mean working foolish.
I
Because
don't
you
work
could
hard.
work, right, you could work
I work smart.
smart, right, good.
Yes.
Working hard and working intelligently would allow you to be able to develop the results you want with the minimum of ease. So working hard does not mean working blindly nor foolishly. All right. Now, you mentioned the other quality beside working hard. The one that you mentioned before hard work was bravery.
Bravery.
Right. So one must understand that in our tradition, being brave is a requisite quality that adds to the ethical and the moral value and virtues of good character. One most definitely has to have the ability to be brave in moving forward to do what is necessary for the development and the progress of our people. This is a work that we have taken under a lot of criticism, scrutiny, and the normal challenges that are included in making progress. We haven't shredded, but we are asking for the members of the community to exercise this important quality of bravery. If we are to move into the next year, which is just a month and a few days away, we have to make a resolute commitment to be brave enough and to work hard enough to accomplish the things that we need. Okay? The projects that we have undertaken are going to be the basis for our very sustenance in the future. And we are asking for the members to be brave enough and to be hardworking enough to come out and to do what is necessary for our own future. All of the projects we are undertaking is for the young people and is for the future of the Ifa Orisa community. With that, I would say no more on those two qualities that add towards
Their
the building
qualities.
of Omoluabi.
Right? Because hard work or working smart collectively does bring results. Because
Ashe.
the first part in farming, you have to do hard work of cutting and plowing the land. The easy part is walking and just sticking the seed in the ground. And you have how much months to relax back until the crop grows. So hard work also allows you to rest. You know, there's a saying when we check in the cycle of time is what you do in the morning, identify how your afternoon will be, so you know how you'll rest in the evening. So you say what you do early, we'll say how your afternoon will be and identify how your rest is going to come about. All right. So when we work now, so moving from the hard work become the easy part or the afternoon part, entrepreneurship or because now while working hard, you see talents, you see ability, you see things to put in place, you see what you have. So you start to dig and you get precious stones from the ground. You start to put it away. What can we do with this? We start to see certain plants. Wait now, this is this herb, this is this plant. These things are valuable. So from the hard work, you see opportunities for entrepreneurship in which the community could grow. So and sustain itself. Now, even remember now the project that we are doing today, it was already something that started since in 2020, 2021, according to Ogbertura. Remember, you began the collective economics and all these things. So you were in tune with the message that Ifa said that we have to work towards. Now, if Ifa says something now, it's nothing going to pop up the same year, but it's showing the progression. Because now, if we really had started early, we would have already been able to sustain ourselves through all this COVID and this pandemic and the shutdown and all these things. Our food
Very,
basket
very
is
correct. Very
already
correct,
there.
Baba. But Baba, in addition to which I want to say,
Uh-huh.
we're talking about Omoluabi, and there
Mm-hmm.
is the issue of bravery,
Uh-huh.
right? I mean, the subject right now is the subject of entrepreneurship and
Entrepreneurship.
money. But we
Mm-hmm.
must understand to be a true entrepreneur, you have to have the quality of
Mm-hmm.
bravery. You must be
Testicular
willing to take,
fortitude.
yes, you must be
To
willing to take
invest.
that
You be
risk.
willing to invest in something that you
That is
see can
correct.
bring
That
out
is
fruit.
correct. This
Mm-hmm.
is why on most of the videos that I did on economics, I
Mm-hmm.
provided some of the very basic things that we could use, like the
Mm-hmm.
susu,
Yeah.
to get ourselves started and positioned. I
Mm-hmm.
talk about financial planning. I spoke about things like budgeting, you know. So we provided all of the foundational work that was needed for members of our community who doesn't have the requisite training to simply go on Ifa Bemero, home of
Mm-hmm.
Ifa Orisha tradition, where you can see the videos that would educate you and give you the necessary knowledge and the know-how that you would be able to apply through the
Apply.
techniques mentioned and develop the suitable skills. So again, entrepreneurship is something that is necessary for our community, because if we are to be self sustained, we must harness our young people.
Mm-hmm.
We must have them properly trained so that they can carry out their role in enterprise and in business, so that we can have a prosperous community.
Community.
Our interest also is in forming educational institutions. The first one that we established is not the first altogether, because there were other efforts for educational
Mm-hmm.
institutions. But last year, we were working very assiduously on the Ifa Orisha school,
Mm-hmm.
right? Because we're trying to have our young children minds be prepared based on our own tradition and given the values of our tradition, which includes, by the way, the subject, which is Omoluabi and good character Iwa Pele. So this point that is being emphasized here of enterprise and of money, we need to start looking towards the future, where we can have the institutions we need, the businesses we need. So we encourage members to be brave and to
And
work
apply the
hard
work hard.
and
No.
to get involved in business,
Mm-hmm.
as well as to generate legal money. Legal, emphasizing on the word within the
Legal money.
framework of the law. Legal money.
Now, even going back to the Odu Okbel, which is really the starting block to where we are going to before we even enter into this year's Odu to next year. If I said this year, that was talking about 2020 to 2021. This year, if I said we should be futuristic, now that what you're just saying, what we was preparing for. If I advise us to always get involved in things that will profit us in the future, not to think of only the present gain. We should have a plan for our futures. Our concern should be for our old age, for individuals, also for our communities. And we should focus on development in all areas such as education, economy, science, and technology. This is needed to be able to meet future demands so that the community will not be lagging behind. Now, see, if we pay attention to IFA and we act with bravery, we be sincere, we come out and we work hard, we could really benefit according to what IFA is always guiding us to live the good
Baba,
life.
and again, I must agree with you. You see, I believe one of the problems we have is we get the annual readings and we look for all kind of magical, mystical interpretation and meaning. When in a lot of cases, these SAEFs are very clear. The things you've just read
It is
that
very clear.
emphasize the things that we need and the institutions that we need to build. There are leaders in our community, some lacking the vision to see where this Odu is actually what is taking place and what is manifesting itself in the universe. Because all of these things, the whole COVID thing and the lockdown and all of that, the Odu was preparing us for
It
that.
was preparing us, and it was a now. Remember how Ifa teaches. Ifa says this, and you should do the above. Now it is the choice of the person to take the instructions of Ifa. If you don't take the instruction, then the other side of that situation will be your results. All right.
Well, Baba, obviously we will be made to suffer. But
Right.
fortunately, by the grace of Oludumare, there are people like ourselves, and mind you, we have a lot of silent supporters, people who lack the bravery. That is a desired ethical characteristic of Omoluabi. And I'm glad we're having the discussion because many people seem to think good character simply means to be a conformist.
Yeah.
People
True.
think good character means to not question a
Behave yourself.
direction. Yeah, being
Yeah, behave
order,
yourself.
But bravery is quite contrary to the principle of what a lot of people consider to be humility.
Yeah.
Humility is to minimize yourself and to make yourself lower than you are. Bravery is not that.
True.
Bravery is coming forward, accepting the challenge,
And
recognizing the difficulties we have in, and regardless of what appears to be the difficulties, facing the challenges with bravery. But again, the last one we all know
all
is
right.
enterprise and money. What are we moving on to next?
No, so now with entrepreneurship, you can't just jump in and say we go in and do something. We need to have opolopipe intelligence. Because that's what we know China now. Find the intelligence and the instructions that IFA has been given us.
Well, Baba, I think it's being able to make sense of it. And what I was saying,
make sense of that sense.
Right. No, make dollars and cents.
Make dollars and cents.
But what I was saying just now is that a lot of the times people would read the Odu, they would review the Odu, but they're looking for some kind of science, mystical, magical type of thing. But sometimes they miss the entire boat with the simplicity of the message that has been given to us as a guidance throughout the year. We are saying definitely the ebos that are recommended, the heads of our shrines of the Ifa Orisa community, are to try to perform these ebos so that all of their members and the community at large could receive the benefit. While that is done, at the same time, we are also required to work hard towards these things. We are also required to be brave. We are also required to use some measure of intelligence, to be smart about the way we approach things. Which I found this very interesting to see where the position of of intelligence falls in the term Omoluabi. It is very low on the list of priority.
Well, it comes central.
All right, central. But I'm saying they don't put intelligence first. They put speech first because of the importance of the transfer of the share, the history, and the knowledge. But intelligence, which is I think personally is a very important thing, but it is still low on the list of priorities for
the priority
that are desired by
where I see it as, remember now, let me go back to Orosiso.
Okay.
Proper speech, clear speech. Even in terms of an intelligent speech or somebody being truthful in their speech. I don't know. It's about things say, if I am an idiot, I do not know. It is you to teach me.
No, well, Baba, listen, even when we opening the rituals and we call on the ancestors and we call on the past Babalaos, right? We call on them for the reason that sometimes in performing opening rituals, we may make mistakes.
We may don't know error. If it's run first or if it's through water first.
Right, so the Oriki actually says, in our ignorance, we may fail to do something. But we are asking that those who went before us, who are knowledgeable and who knows that they be with us to guide us. And if they cannot guide us, to perform for us in Orun what we deficiently did in IA.
All right. Yeah. Now, so Opolo people, the intelligence. Now, you don't get intelligence in book, eh? Other side people.
The book was made before sense.
All right. So
And the sense was
intelligence.
made before book, sorry.
So what I said, they all intelligence of the world is a sleeping cell that is in our brains. That means some memory of a science that would have already been there but dormant because it's not in the cultural sphere at the moment for your usage. So as you will, okay, you're studying medicine and you're doing herbology and whatnot. I sure many times while you are looking at what the book says, you had come up with a solution that works better than what the book have identified.
Well, Baba, definitely. But remember too, most of the books that are written, you have different kind of authors, but a large percentage of books written were actually written on the experiences of the people who wrote the book. But then you have some authors who only know theory. They have no practical experience.
No, right. So now there we go in. The theory is not intelligence. So people who believe that they can read and study something and have the intelligence of it. Intelligence is when they tap into the source, when that Ori connect to the universal, the Ori ladder, and bring down intelligence. That's say you will be you have the practical and you have the theory, but something in you is going to say, nah, you know, if I think this, let me try this, and it comes out okay, and then you create or you allow your intelligence. Somebody say you waju or your third eye or your pineal gland, that awakening God sense in you. So if Omoluabi really tell you, look deeper within yourself, look deeper in your behaviors, your character, your virtues, and allow it to excel as a collective. Don't just be a brave to want to run in a fight, but be brave to tell people, hey, it don't make sense fighting for this. Right? So in terms, all the connections basically is about how do we apply ourselves in this space that now we want to become the Enya, the perfect being.
Perfect human.
So the perfect human can only be those that encase in the virtues of Omoluabi.
Well, right? I think also too, Baba, on the issue of intelligence, you mentioned the Ori. But this is also a very, very, very important thing. Persons having alignment with their Ori, where their Ori would guide them in the proper direction, in the direction that Oludumare had set for them. And when I say set, one must remember that before we came here, we went to Oludumare and we asked. And he agreed and he allowed us to be here. So there is definitely a program that we need to be following. And the one witness that is with us all the time is the Ori. So therefore, you must recognize and you must propitiate your Ori for the true intelligence, which is the guidance of Oludumare, to be downloaded into your mind via your Ori. All right? So that intelligence ain't just the intelligence of man, mortal man, and the physical brain. You know, but it has to do with that divine guidance from Oludumare.
Yeah, exactly. That connections. All right? Ori me, bear me, Ori that is like pretty brass. Now, so moving from intelligence, hard work, bravery, endurance.
Enterprise. You go into endurance now?
Endurance. Right?
All right.
Authority. Now endurance is how strong, how committed are we that we can stick with it to see the outcome? That endurance. That when you're lacking endurance, there are people are jumping from one thing to the next. Jump from one because I ain't like how the teacher talked to me. I ain't like how the Baba showing me this. I ain't like this or how the mother does do that. So you're not enjoying on your goal. You're enjoying something for you to achieve something. How are you going to develop that way to enjoy till the end? Or never biblical term, I can't remember, until you enjoy it until the end, something. But in terms of endurance, it's never given. Never give up on your feet. Never give up on your tradition.
all right.
Enjoy till the end, I say. Go ahead.
I wanna. Well, that I endure into the end song like a religious connotation.
Yeah, that's
But
it. A biblical song.
which we try to stay away from if we could. But I mean, we know we have every type of person listening to the show, whether it's Muslim, Christian, Jew, Hebrew, whatever. So we try to
We
communicate
respect
to
all.
everybody.
But I said
Yeah.
everybody fits in.
But I want to say a little bit about endurance, right?
Mm.
Normally, when people hear endurance, we talk about being able to last long, right? But endurance also include another element that has to do with one's strength and one ability to use that strength and apply it in the right place. All right. And we don't be trying to knock on authority all the time. But it is very important that those in authority who represent strength and power, this endurance would also apply to their ability to use their strength in the correct way in which it would be beneficial to the Ifa Orisa community. So endurance don't only mean being able to do something for a long time. It also means being able to use your energy and apply it in the right place so that you could move the entire community in
forward.
the correct direction.
Right?
So that is just another dimension to that whole thing of endurance. Right? What we have next on the list, Baba?
All right. So, Suru.
Patience. Oh my boy, that's a big one, boy.
Because endurance is also a level of Suru. Having a strength to really carry and you go in and you not fall. We don't just give up. That patience. God, how long is patience? Everybody say patience, so you have to Suru. How
Baba,
long is Suru?
Baba. Again, it's so important, this discussion on Omoluabi. And I would say again, because many persons do not understand the significance of specific characteristic traits as is valued by the Ifa Orisa tradition, many people seem to think that Iwapili just applies to anything and to nothing specifically. But here what we are doing is we are giving the specific characteristics that is valued in our tradition, in Isheshe.
Yeah.
So this issue of humility, we want to talk about it. And we want to try to get people to understand it. Right? Basically, humility is about self-sacrifice, mainly. Because it talks about one doing what is necessary for harmony to prevail. It talks about one making oneself smaller so that others could have comfort. So humility is not just a quality that applies to the practitioners of the tradition. Humility is a quality that also applies not just to followers and brothers and sisters. It also applies to leaders, because the leaders too have to be able to make their followers, through example, do what is necessary in terms of the means of sacrifice to make sure that everyone is well positioned and comfortable so that they could work towards the advancement of the community. So humility is not just for followers. Humility is also for leadership too. I mean, we've studied so many Odus that shows the need for that measure of humility. We have studied Odus that showed that Oludumare recognizes individuals outside of what we will traditionally see as a means of an order of authority. It shows where a junior person was allowed to challenge for position of authority and leadership. So for that to occur in a natural sense, there is something we call future planning. for succession
Succession
training
planning. Succession.
succession planning.
Mm-hmm.
Within that process, we talked about mentorship too last week.
Mm-hmm.
The leaders also have to have some measure of the same humility and recognize that they are not going to live forever. However, the institution and the organizations that they build, our hope is that it would last for all the future generations. So in succession planning, we always must, as leaders and as people in position of a leadership, be humble enough to recognize that the people who are under us one day would have to sit in our seat. We
And that's
must be
why that's show the grade. That's
we
why I
have
show
to
the
be
grade, man.
I hear you, my brother, but we
Right?
all have to be
Yeah.
humble enough
And,
to
and
allow
this
the people junior to us to have an opportunity to be prepared to sit in our seat.
and this is why now come from moving into from Suru, Ifarabale, composure. Now, just taking that stage in terms of leadership. A lot of people don't have the composure as a leader. They may have a title, they may have a position, but in terms of the composure, which coming down the line from all those expectations in terms of characters that one should have to become Omoluabi. As I say, yes, you might be a religious leader or a social leader or a cultural leader. Say you're a leader of a dance group, but you're only teaching your followers how to dance. But you're not going into that entrepreneurial thing where you say, let us work hard. Now we're going all the way back. Be brave enough to buy a piece of land, open a dance studio, and I can
Be,
leave
in,
it with all you.
be independent, be
Be
enterprising,
independent.
be entrepreneurial.
Entrepreneurial. So now you have a studio. You don't have to rent. You can have shows. So that composure of not in terms because when I read it, Marcus Garvey came to mind. He bought boats without the help of a government. He had hotels and businesses and warehouse without going to the government. It's not saying we can't go and collect we tax money, because I put a lot of money inside there. But in terms of the composure that he carried, people used to say, and you see his posture when he's riding his chariot and he put on his suit and he stand up as a strong Negro. And a lot of people will say, Garvey this and Garvey that, but it does. They may
But
find it to be insulting.
Baba, I want to make a plug in there. Why we on this note talking about Marcus Garvey?
Yeah.
Right? I was formerly a Mo, which a lot of people will discover from my last name, Ali Bey.
Uh-huh.
And I am not ashamed. I'm still a Mo actually, because the Moorish Science Temple is not about religion, and they do
It's
not
not religion.
prevent you. They do not prevent you from practicing any religion. But I want to plug in this interesting fact. Whenever a person sees a photograph of Marcus Garvey on the largest march that ever happened in Harlem, New York, you would see sitting next to Marcus Garvey a gentleman in a felt hat and a suit. That gentleman is Noble Jurali, the founder of the Moorish Science Temple.
Yeah. Who
When
started
the Union,
5%?
no, he didn't. A different person started 5%.
All right, Baba
right?
Noble had some connection.
Yeah, Brother Jawas. That he was a member of the Nation of Islam. But let me just plug in this. Noble Jurali, who had over 50 temples in the United States, was one of Marcus Garvey's closest allies. He was the person who opened the door of all his temples throughout the United States to allow the Union to have branches. All of the executive members of the Union, some of them who turned out to be not so honest, were former Moorish Hebrews who helped Noble Jurali properly establish the United Negro Improvement Organization. That's the plug-in I want to make. But now let's go back to the lesson now.
Right?
With Omoluabi. There's two things that is mentioned here. Not just composure, but also the issue of attention.
Mm-hmm.
In leadership, leaders must exhibit some sense of vision into the future. And one doesn't have to be extremely talented to do it.
Mm.
Even in studying simply the Urdu
Yeah.
that is given for the year,
Mm.
it, Ifa gives us a glimpse into the
Into the
future
future.
through these Urdus. So by paying close attention, leaders are supposed to take these Urdus and use it as a form of visionary guidance
Mm.
so that they would know the direction that their organization should be gearing towards during the course of that year.
Yeah.
Okay? So the idea of composure and attention would afford leaders to be able to carry out the responsibilities that are issued. Because remember, when the diviner uses the IFA system, what he is doing is he is ultimately downloading the directives that Oludumare have for the
Mm.
members who are representing him on earth. So
Exactly.
it is not only an issue of simply not paying attention and not having the relevant composure, but this whole idea of being visionary, which by the way we talk about intelligence and mental
Intelligence.
radiance
Mm-hmm.
that is associated to intelligence, would imply strongly the need for visionary leadership that
Mm.
could work towards a better community.
Community.
So the building of institutions is very much tied in to Omoluabi,
Mm.
to having good character, and for the proper passing on of Isheshe, which is
Yes,
the
sure.
culture and the traditional
Mm-hmm.
values, through proper speech and by giving proper history
Mm.
and by being brave enough to do what we have to do. So
Yeah.
again, I'm trying to tie everything into one.
Yeah, it's
But,
one.
right, but where we are now at the stage where
So
we are dealing with two aspects of it.
so so we moving from composure to our respect. So all what you said there, everyone carries that and they work towards what you just said there. People will respect you. Some people like to demand respect.
Oh well, Baba, well, I'm glad you used that word because I was waiting to talk about that. Because I would say this much: respect is something that is earned. I
Mm.
don't have to read a Odu for that,
No, 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 no.
right?
That's
That
a
is very
universal phrase.
right. Because here, what the etymology of the word respect? Respect is broken into two parts:
Mm.
which
Mm.
means to do over, and spec, as in spectacle, means
Mm.
to see.
The C, the
And
verb.
normally, when you're talking about a spectacle or a spectator, you're talking about the ability to see right or wrong.
Mm.
So when you're talking about respect, what we are saying is when you look closely at a person, you should be able to see things in them
Mm.
that requires you to give due recognition to the individual. So therefore, respect is just not something that is given.
All right.
Respect is something that
So,
is earned. So
so
for all the followers and for all the leaders, for us to have respect for each other, we must apply Omoluabi
mm.
and Iwapile.
So there where come at the re, as you say, return. That is somebody who will wish to return to and communicate with again. Somebody who want to come and sit with again because of that respect that person would have earned from you.
Yes.
And somebody come by you, you make them they respect you, but they ain't even coming close to you again. See that man, I want to be around that bad
Well,
thought.
well, I think when we did the first show and
Yeah,
Eonti was on the show and
yeah.
we read the Odu with the young man who went for Ashe
Ashe.
and the
And
elder
the
who
elder
went
that
for
went to the Ashe.
Ashe,
Mm,
Ia advised that when dealing with young people,
mm,
we must value them.
mm.
So this comes up in the issue of respect. If you
Respect.
treat
Give them the full words.
younger, yes, if the elders treat the youths with respect, which they have earned, and the youth treat the elder with respect, we will all be able to have harmonious relationship, which would move the community forward together.
All right. So now we go on to SO caution.
All right. Well, I mean,
Yeah.
there are so many Odus
Well, I
that
will, I
speaks
will
on
just
that.
I will just think I'll read in here. Told you Iware Orimi, maintain your character, my friend. So I'm giving a caution to all followers of our program, all listeners, even elders and Imakos. Maintain your character, my friend. Honor can leave from the house of a person. Beauty can leave from the body of a person. However, if people's character follow them to the grave, character is like smoke. Eventually, it will rise to the surface. A person lives off in the distance in honor, but with closeness, we learn of a person's action. Character will not leave its owner alone. It is a child's character that gives the child a name. Even if the child seems fine, there's still a need for character. Even if the body looks fine, there's still a need for clothing.
Hmm,
Even if the feet work fine, there's still a need for shoes. If a person seems fine but doesn't have character, he or she is missing something very valuable indeed.
definitely.
Good
I
character
share.
is a person's bodyguard.
I share.
Patience is the progenitor of character. Character is the progenitor of blessings.
I share. But
Uh,
Baba, I think I saw a meme on
mm,
social media that
uh,
sums up that essay Ifa that you just read.
all right.
And the meme said that good character is like a pregnancy.
Uh,
Cannot hide
you
for
can't.
long. It cannot hide for
You can't
long.
belong.
So
All right.
good character is so important that it is a factor that helps determine whether a person is going to fulfill
Mm,
one's destiny.
mm,
Because the characteristics that a person is born with are the necessary raw material to give them success
mm.
or failure in life. And
Yeah.
that is what I think that Odu that you were just reading
Yeah.
emphasizes. Now,
Emphasize.
again, it ties in also with Omoluabi because last part of Omoluabi, which is Ibi,
Mm,
emphasizes two important things. It emphasizes the nobility of one's birth.
mm,
That is the first part that applies to EB,
mm.
right? The other part that applies to EB, beside having to do
It's an
with that
honor.
noble birth,
Mm.
is what we're discussing now, which is
Uh,
good
good,
character.
good character, good grace.
Yes, good character. So
Mm,
again, it ties in with the Ori also,
mm,
right? Because one's ability to fulfill one's destiny is going to be heavily contributed on
mm,
by character. And this issue of respect,
mm,
which we both agree is tied into the idea of earning respect by
mm,
having characteristics that would make you noble, make you upright, make you ethical, make you a moral person,
mm.
ties in quite well to
That's
this
what.
idea of iwapile, which earns one respect.
This way. So, so I think we have 5 minutes there into it. All
Yeah,
right.
we have roughly 5 minutes. Well,
All right.
let's try to finish now because we
All
don't want
right.
to run into a
No,
third
no, it's only
episode
five. So I just want to
on
say in terms of
Omoluabi.
followers and thing. We firstly, as persons who say we practicing Ifa Orisha, have to always remember the factor that Ifa Orisha is a way of life. There are the religious aspects, there are the cultural aspects, there are the social aspect, political, and all other aspects of Ifa. But it is not just about the religion and prayers and worshiping, but it also encompasses all aspects of life. Either we living by the culture, the full holistic life of Ifa, or we clearly define if we just fall in the religious aspect of Ifa. Because as I say, if a brother says the Odu that he gained for the year in Port of Spain, Ifa says so, I too have to respect that message. I can't say, well, that is your message. I go and find mine. So even if I find mines, Ifa says so right, but Ifa has also said so. So we have to understand the word of God is the word of God. The messages of Ifa is the words of God coming for us as we seek the guidance. The Awos or the Babalaos are interpreters of the words. They are not the gods. But
Definitely.
once we respect the words, clearly get clear understanding of the word, don't just look for the magic. Everybody quick to do the ebo and not pay attention to the messages that comes with the ebo. The messages are important. The name
All
of the
right.
priests are important. And
Yes,
all
definitely.
collective in that Odu is very important for us to learn something, not just the ritual, to learn and understand how we can bring about the good condition within ourselves, our family, and the whole world in which we exist in. So, Baba, I'll let
Right.
you say a few words and we have 2 minutes.
No, well, we still have two more. We have caution, we have
No,
wisdom.
no,
But
well, that's
let
the
me
next one
all right.
because
Let me try to do it quick.
like
Right.
knowledge, wisdom, and understanding is a holistic thing because that's what a lot of people has been writing for many years and they never clearly understand it.
Right.
So we could
Now,
run through it, and next week
yeah.
we will go into that sphere because that was saving those three. That is my favorite tree.
All right. Now, caution first and foremost.
Uh-huh.
There are laws of Ifa
Mm.
that directly prescribe certain issues that we need to be very
You be
cautious
cautious of.
about.
Mm-hmm.
Now, some of these things would include doing things that you are not qualified to do.
Mm.
Right? This, as it applies to Omoluabi, I want to believe this is something too that is almost something that is always abused.
Mm.
Because you will hear many people saying, well, you shouldn't practice something that you don't know. You
Mm.
know, this one practicing where you don't know, and that one practicing you don't know because he don't have no Baba Ifa, and you hear all these kind of way out comments, and then it, it's said, well, the person don't have good character because he's doing what he's not supposed to be doing, and he don't know what he's doing. And normally the people who making these criticisms
Well, you
are
want to
not
criticize
qualified.
them.
Wait,
Well,
are not qualified to make the
so
criticism
make the criticism
because the
exactly.
people who they make the comments towards, they do not know whether the persons went to school for what they're doing. They
Mm.
do not know if the person had the training for what they're doing.
True.
So they totally ignore some of the other laws of Ifa, one of
Mm.
which states, do not speak on what you do not know.
Exactly.
Okay? So I wanted to throw that in, but let's go on. Now, the other thing on the list is
Emo
right, is
knowledge.
Emo, which is
Emo.
knowledge.
Mm-hmm.
So that also hinges on the issue of caution that
Mm-hmm.
it applies to the law of Ifa.
Yeah.
Knowledge is a requisite for the practice, right, of anything. However,
Okay.
knowledge is not wisdom because wisdom is the application
The
of what
application
one
of the
knows,
in the
right?
understanding.
So, knowledge is a good thing to always have, and being knowledgeable is one of the valued qualities
Mm.
of Isheshe, right? But even more important than having a knowledge is being able to apply it in the right
Mm.
time and in the right
All right, the
situation,
situation.
which is wisdom.
Wisdom.
So wisdom is the prudent application of
Mm.
what you know.
Mm.
All right. And last but not least,
Understand.
well, I mean, we already
Yo,
covered it.
ye-
So we went into caution, knowledge, and wisdom. So more or less, we covered everything
Mm.
that describes the characteristics
Mm.
of Omoluabi
Mm.
and also Iwapele. So beyond now, all the members of our community, we are fully aware of what constitutes a good character.
So
A
what you
bad
just
name, a bad name
mm.
doesn't even have to necessarily be true because people propagate false things about people they
Yeah.
do not like. So we will caution the members of the
Mm.
community to be very careful in stepping forward and accusing people of having poor character without knowing facts,
Mm.
which falls within the purvey of the laws of Ifa.
Mm.
So, in closing off this program on Omoluabi, we would remind all of the adherents in the country that the qualities that are necessary to display Omoluabi has to do with one's ability to communicate properly,
Mm.
right? Which is the very first and most
Almost
valued.
say so. The words of power.
That's
Spoken
correct.
word. Mm.
Correct. So we know that we must pay attention to developing our ability to speak to express our ideas and to express ourselves within the framework of the community. We also know that it's necessary for us to be obedient as far as understanding Isheshe and the tradition and our role in the entire universe and scheme of things. We also know the important characteristic of goodwill and mind towards others, right? Which would reduce gossip. If you have a goodwill and a good mind to others, you wouldn't go speaking about them in things that you do not know. Then Otito, which is truth. Then Iwa, which is character and
And
virtue.
virtue.
Akikanju, which is bravery. Ise, which is hard work or war, entrepreneurship and money. Opolo,
Pipe.
right, which is intelligence and
Intelligence.
mental radiance. And then you have Afiority, which is endurance.
Endurance.
Suru, which is patience.
Patience.
Ifarabale, which is composure and attention. Owo, which is respect. Eshe, which is caution. And then you have Emo, which is knowledge. And Ogbon, which is wisdom. And with that,
we get understanding.
right, we would like to close off this week's show. And we would like to let you know we're going to be discussing family next on the next show, where we will be discussing things like marriage and polygamy and the role of husband, wife, and all that business, which I'm sure many of the viewers is looking forward to.
Actually, I get in trouble. So, we want to tell members, follow us, or let's share, subscribe, and try to connect in so anybody will have questions. So you can send in questions in the videos that are shared, and we'll try to answer any question that is put forward to us.
For sure.
Right? Keep connected, stay alive, support our ventures, because you are the beneficiaries of all that we are doing here today. Aboye, Aboshishe.
And Odabo.
Odabo. All right.